ESPN Sunday Night Baseball Game of the Week. From Oakland, home run leader Mark McGwire leads the Athletics against the Brewers. But first, baseball tonight next.
Baseball tonight. Another class takes its place among the immortals in Cooperstown.
I have a tremendous feeling of humility, and this comes from the fact that I'm standing in front of the greatest baseball players.
The Braves call an end to their Olympic odyssey. Records are falling in the Big Apple, and Buhner hits a milestone in Motown. We've got feats of artistic beauty and a never-ending struggle just to be the best. There's no disputing. It's got a funky rhythm and a beat you can dance to. Baseball tonight. Hello once again, everybody. I'm Chris Berman along with Peter Gammons. We get the Masters champ of the Preppy along on the first Dog Day Sunday of August. I threatened on Wednesday night that I would see you Sunday. How you been?
Very good. And we've got some pretty good races going here.
Yes, many a good race. And hopefully in the Dog Days of August we are barking up the right tree, sorry. It's only fitting that on the day, Peter, that Earl Weaver gets inducted into the Hall of Fame, that his credo was carried out by the team that's taken over the spot that his Orioles used to occupy, defending American League champions. Pitching, defense, 3-run homers. Oddly enough, the Cleveland Indians invoked Earl's baseball commandments against Baltimore. But you'll want to get ready for the defense by Kenny Lofton, maybe a little pitching by Brian Anderson, and 3-run homering by Jim Thome. But Lofton, the story on this afternoon after Dennis Martinez, more in a moment, scratched, and on the DL, he was hurt himself in the bullpen warming up. Kenny Lofton early on against Chris Hoyles, bottom of the third, steals second. You know what's coming 2 pitches later. Don't even bother to throw it. Sac fly, 1-0 Tribe. Rocky Coppinger has a no-hitter going to the bottom of the 5th inning for Davey Johnson until, Kenny Lofton sends it back. Solo home run number 9 in the air. 2-1 Indians. But then, big situation in the game. 3-2 Indians, but 2 on for the Orioles against B.J. Surhoff. Sends it deep to center field. Back he goes. Oh, Lofton! He leaps, plants on the wall, and makes the catch. Unbelievable. Look at this. The foot and the climb. Shades of that Otis Nixon climbing up the wall catch a couple of years ago. Davey says, you have to be kidding me. Remember, it's a 3-2 game in the top of the 8th when he makes this catch. Now, later on, Lofton singles in the bottom of the 8th, scoring Vizcaíno. A couple batters later, here's the 3-run homer we're talking about. Jim Thome, can you hear me, off Keith Shepard. 10 straight Indians reached base and came around to score in the 11-run 8th inning. Even Brian Giles, who's going back and forth, minor league up, Mets, Tribe, etc., he hits a 3-run shot. The Tribe roll 14-2, but the key is it was a 3-2 game when Lofton made his defensive heroics. After the game, Lofton spoke about it.
Any kind of catch that helps the pitcher out, diving or catching the ball in the gap, that's something I like to do, because that's, like I said, it could be a game saver, or it could be something that, a pitcher made a mistake and I'm trying to help him out.
I've seen great catches, but I've never seen a better one in that type of situation than Kenny's. I don't know that people realize just how difficult that is and how much talent that takes to be able to pull something like that off.
Unbelievable, as was the Indians in the bottom of the 8th. So Lofton defense, top of the 8th, bottom of the 8th, the Tribe hanging 11th spot. Of course, that pales by comparison to Texas's. That was that 26-run game that they had. They had 16 against Baltimore. So again, the key here, Baltimore twice has been hit for double-digit innings this year. Part of the reason they're miles behind the Yankees. Speaking of which, the Yankees at the Royals. But the Yankees have lost the first couple of the series. But Andy Pettitte, very tough after a loss, gets Kevin Young swinging. Bob Boone not happy. He'd even be less happy when Les Norman thinks the pitch is low and outside, and Norman starts to complain. But that's nothing compared to Booney. Here he comes against the young umpire, Eric Cooper. And he says, Booney says, hey, Coop, you boy the Coop. And he says, Bob, I can't take it anymore. You're gone. So Boone sits. And Mariano Duncan, while Boone sits in the clubhouse, makes it pay. Pettitte can't make the grab. With bases loaded for Douglas, been a great player all year. 3-run score, 5-0 Yankees. Then Pettitte against Bob, Green Eggs, and Hamlin. Career-high 11 strikeouts, and Andy Pettitte ups his marks to 16-6. Paul O'Neill at homer number 12. But more impressive than 16-6 for Pettitte, after a loss, he's 9-2. And you know what that means, having a guy like that that can end any possible long losing streak. So the Yankees win it at Kansas City. Salvage that third game of that series. Let's go back to Cleveland and the catch by Lofton and the fact that Dennis Martinez, sore right elbow, 15-day DL, and he was supposed to start today, Peter.
Well, Dennis has had a lot of problems with that elbow over the last couple of years. They did today what they've done a lot of times. Brian Anderson came up from Buffalo, went out to the bullpen while Dennis tried it. It bothered him. They put Martinez on the disabled list, and Anderson pitched. I mean, this is a serious concern for them. I mean, you know, if Dennis can't pitch, I mean, you're talking about putting Lopez and Anderson in the rotation, or maybe even bringing up Taveras from Buffalo and trying him in the rotation. Puts a lot of pressure. Hershiser's been pitching very well. Nagy's a terrific pitcher. And, of course, Jack McDowell comes back next weekend. But it sure makes that trade. They got David Wells from Baltimore right at the trading deadline, and Peter Angelo's killed that deal. That hurts them. But I'll tell you, with addition of Vizcaino and the way Lofton's played this year, and it seems like he's made 8 or 10 of those catches this year, I mean, their defense is much better than it was last year. That will help their pitching.
By the way, the first lefty starter to win a game for Cleveland, Brian Anderson, got the win today. And over a calendar year, one of our favorites, Buddy Black, last June got a win. But so a lefty starter has won for the Tribe. The Long and Winding Road, a hit certainly on the Beatles' last album, and the song being sung by the Atlanta Braves during the Olympics. Today, at least, the Braves could get the following from the great Karnak. I have in my hand the final envelope. Game 17 of their Olympic 17-game odyssey, although yesterday's 18-inning tilt against the Dodgers must have made this game seem like number 18. Tom Glavine against Hideo Nomo, not a bad game for the curtain call. And here we go from Chavez Ravine, and Tommy, he's going to be at the park. It just would not be Dodgers if we didn't see Tommy at Dodger Stadium. Ed Givinola at the drive to right. Raul Mondesi catching Raul, makes the play in right. Then Tommy Glavine tries to squeeze, pops it up. Tom Goodnight, Sweet Prince, makes the play behind the plate. But Bill Russell's team, defense, they tried to shore it up, but still problem.
Well, that's still a problem. Billy Ashley here on Tom Glavine's drive. Just got frozen a little bit. The ball took off over his head. That was a rough play. And then they got Chad Curtis to play center field, but the Tigers didn't want Chad Curtis playing center field. They didn't feel he could anymore. Here, throw, just not quite enough. Matter of fact, it's more than enough.
It's too much, and Glavine scores on the sac fly. Mondesi grounded to short, Givinola lumpy. They cross signals. It gets lost in the translation, and hello, Sweet Prince. Tom scores to make it 3-3. 4-4 top of the ninth, Brian Klesko base hit the left. Wayne Kirby, yay, allowing the crime dog, Fred McGriff, to chug home. Klesko's going to be thrown out eventually at second on the play, but the Dodgers defense letting them down again. And so the Braves, as is their custom in their last at bat, have won this game by the count of 6-4. They'll have a day off tomorrow before they finally play again at home Tuesday night against the Phillies. So Tommy Glavine actually walked 6 today in 5 2/3, and that's uncharacteristic. But in the end, the Braves win it, and that means that the final total is now in for their road trip, and they won more than they lost. That's not big news for the Braves, just being over 500 on the road, but on a long road trip of 2.5 weeks, 18 days, 9-8. The pitching was there. They had some home runs, although most of them were Napoleon solos, and now they go home after the day off. Marlins and the Padres. Rough opening for Marlins starter Mark Valdez, down 2-0. John Flaherty base hit to left. Scores Steve Dorsal Finley, 3-0 after one. The Pods. Top of the 2, Fernando. And there was something in the air that breathed. No, it was Terry Pendleton that avers this one out of the park. His 7th home run makes it 3-2. Bottom of the 5th now. It's a 4-4 game. Craig Brewer and Shipley.
And coming on, Sheffield.
Sheffield makes the catch. Chris Gomez. Shake. Good throw by Sheffield, but Gomez is in the Pods lead at 5-4. Then, with runners at the corners, the double steal. Ken Caminiti will come home. And the hustling Padres have beaten the Marlins 6-4. The Marlins walked 9 batters in this game, and that's never going to help you out. Fernando was hit a little bit. Went 5, gave up 7 hits and 4 runs, but ups his mark to 8-7. And so with the San Diego Padres winning and the Dodgers losing, which means the Pods lead the Dodgers by a game and a half. And here we are in August, and San Diego is still the front runner, waiting for Tony Gwynn to get back. And you got to give Fernando the nod because, as you point out, Peter, he's a lot more than when they originally signed him.
Well, talking to players out there this week, they say, look, if you look at this guy's heart, John Flaherty says it's amazing to watch him go to the mound. He still has that tremendous aura. He doesn't give in to hitters. He battles. He's been very important. When he signed there, it was considered to be a publicity stunt. He's been a tremendous guy stabilizing that rotation with Ashby out for the year. But this is going to be a great race. I mean, the Dodgers are still going to be there because their starting pitching is great and their bullpen is great. But I'll tell you, the team is really, they finally won 3 in a row on the road. They've started to put some things together. The Rockies look like they're going to be right there with them all the way to the end.
Well, they've gone through this before, having made it as the wild card team last year. And the Rockies, where you're talking about winning on the road, they try to do it in a tough road park, Wrigley Field. Chicago came in and won a couple of Coors Field last week. So the Rockies want to return the favor. And Ellis Burks sends it back, and this doesn't look like it's much. But it's gone. His second solo homer of the game. He now has 29. Meanwhile, Armando Reynoso, Peter, helped himself.
You know, he is the classic Rockies pitcher. So consistent, does little things. Look at that pickoff play. This is 7 pickoff, 2 today, 7 for the season. Great move to second base, gets them out of the jam. Their pitchers are very tough, and he's maybe the toughest of them all.
He's second behind only Facero with 8 in the National League. Tough situation. Bottom of the 6th, bases loaded. The ever-dangerous Sammy Sosa. But Walt 3 blind Weiss turns the 6-3 double play. And Reynoso, Holmes pitched out of that bases loaded situation. Theron did. And the Rockies win 3 in a row on the road. They had won 2 in a row on the road for 2 months until they did it yesterday. So the Rockies now keep pace with the Padres, and they stay 2 back. So the Pods, by a game and a half of the Dodgers, 2 over the Rockies. Still to come at baseball tonight. Les Expos try to keep it, how you say, going at home against the Reds. Can the Mariners ever beat the Tigers? I mean, I'm talking ever. Well, Jay Buhner has his shot at it.
Baseball Tonight is being brought to you by Dunlop Tires. Handle it.
Night games in the majors. James Baldwin tried to up his mark to 10-1 against Bobby Wood, who went to root the last time for the Texas Rangers. The White Sox have taken 2 of the first 4 in this series. That's a wraparound series, Friday through Monday. Sunday night game of the week on ESPN, Milwaukee at Oakland. The Brewers have taken 2 of the first 4 of this wraparound series at Oakland. Tim Van Egmond. Was Craig Stadler there with the Eggman and the Walrus? Never mind. Against Dave, post-game tailgater. The starters in the Sunday night game of the week, Brewers and A's. If there's been one constant this season, it's been that Marge Schott has been in the news every month. Here we are in the 5th month, August. Here we go again, as Ronald Reagan would say, here we go again. Schott wants Reds general manager Jim Bowden to be her long-term replacement as a team CEO. She must officially do this by August 11th. Newspaper reports say National League President Leonard Coleman will not okay the move unless Bowden gives up his GM duties, which reportedly he doesn't want to do. John Allen has been the short-term popular replacement. Stay tuned. As for the Reds in the field, they were in Montreal trying to cool off Les Expos and trying to wake up a killer field. Jeff Facero. Wake up! Bottom of the 4th, Expos lead at 1-0, and this guy has been a one-man wrecking crew.
He's also one of the most improved players in baseball. Shane Andrews, 16 for 34, 6 homers, 21 RBIs in 11 games. Huge double off the fence here. And for 2 runs in the early lead.
Now watch this, 4-0 Expos, and a couple batters later, the Expos starter, who get what pay for Urbina, is going to bunt. But Dave Burba's been pitching well lately, but Burba fields it, and all the way, look at him scatter in the bullpen. This one is all the way to Trois-Rivières. Stankiewicz scores, Urbina at 3rd. I think you get the point. The Expos go on to win it by the count of 7-3. And their homestand, 6-1. Urbina ups his mark to 7-3. Mel Days of Wine and Rojas on for save number 20.
Urbina has only allowed 10 earned runs in his last 6 starts. He's become a big-time rookie starter.
Team that's playing some good ball, the Astros at home against the Giants. Mike Hampton trying to win his 4th straight. Giants down 5-2. But for the 5th straight season, Barry Bonds has 30 or more home runs. Sends it back, gone. And number 30 for Bonds gets the Giants to within 2-5-3. Billy Wagner trying to preserve a 2-run lead. Rick Wilkins with a grounder booted by Ricky Gutierrez. So the Giants have life. And after walking a single, single. Wagner stays in the game to face bases loaded, 1 out. Marvin St. Bernard is up. Bernard with a double play ball, but Gutierrez can't handle Biggio's throw. But on the play, Sean Dunston hurt, and he's overnight for observation.
Absolutely. Gutierrez lost sight of the ball, lost sight of Dunston. Knee hit Dunston right in the head. I guarantee you one thing, though. He was shaken up. I guarantee he'll be right back in there. Few people like to play more than he does.
This is true. Giants still have bases loaded with 1 out and Bonds batting. So against Wagner, foul ball. Strike. Strike 3, fastball. Bonds sits down. There's 2 out. And look at the rookie. He goes from Bonds to Matt Williams. Strike 1. Fouled off for strike 2. Strike 3. So Wagner comes in to nail it with Bonds and Williams at the plate. The Astros have won 24 of their last 31 at home. They beat the Giants 7-6.
And Wagner's a huge part of that. He's got 8 saves, 41 strikeouts in 31 innings. The only time he slumped about a week ago is when he worked 7 times in 9 days. They just have to resist the temptation to use him too much.
Meanwhile, the Cards and the Mets. Top of the 6th, the Cards trail at 2-0, but Ron Gant has the bases loaded. The check swing, fools Alvaro Espinosa. Mike Morgan, Royce Clayton score. We're tied at 2. Now the Cards lead at 3-2 with runners at the corners. But watch this by the youngsters. Mabry with the shot. Ordonez! Alfonso! Oh, what a turn! Bottom of the 9th, the Mets still trail at 4-2.
And the Cardinals get their great. But actually, they have a whole bunch of them by Gallego and Clayton. But this one by Clayton is just beautiful.
Always had the rocket arm at shortstop and shows it now as a Card. Dennis Eckersley. Well, this time he gets Butch Husky on the check swing. And the Cardinals win a 4-2 for Enck. Save number 341. Ties him for 3rd lifetime. Spoiling it in the loss for the Mets. The fact that Todd, that doggo Huntley, homered in the 2nd inning for the Mets' 33rd of the season, breaking the old T-Mark with catchers Gary Carter and the Major League mark, Roy Campanella, at 40. So certainly Huntley can reach that. One of the rights of summer is the Sunday at Cooperstown when the Hall of Fame opens its arms and opens its doors to its newest members. Today, some royalty of such as an Earl and a Congressman took their place among the immortals. The Earl, of course, is Earl Weaver, longtime skipper of the Orioles, who won the 1970 World Series, 4 times American League pennant, 6 times they won the AL East. Never at a loss for words or antics, Weaver was a natural at the podium today.
And now it's time to recognize a group of baseball people that very seldom receive credit for a job well done. This group being the umpires of the American and National League. Now, counting balls and strikes and close plays on the bases, they must have made over 1 million calls while I was managing. And except for those 92 times I disagreed, they got the other ones right.
Oh, Earl. The wait for Jim Bunning was long, but today the man who pitched a no-hitter, won 100 games, struck at 1,000 batters in each league, finally got his shot. One of his no-nos was a Father's Day perfect game in 1964.
To the owners, I would like to say, get your house in order. To the players, I would say, not one person, no person is bigger than the game itself. Remember that the fans are the reason you are being paid the salaries you make. Treat them with dignity and respect.
Jim Bunning with a few words. Also honored today, Bill Foster, left-hander who once won 26 straight games in the Negro Leagues. Ned Hanlon managed 5 pennant-winning teams in Baltimore and Brooklyn at the turn of the century. Former Twins broadcaster Herb Carnero. Ford Frick Award goes into the broadcaster's wing in Cooperstown. Congratulations to all there and posthumously. And you want to see the Hall of Fame induction? Some of you may have seen it on ESPN2, but we'll run it again at 12:30 a.m. Eastern, 9:30 on the West Coast, 6:30 in Hawaii. The Hall of Fame induction ceremonies, always fun. Still to come. Huck got the chuck for the Jays against the Angels. How did he do? More when Baseball Tonight continues. And can Mark McGwire get up to 40 tonight? Could happen every time he steps in the batter's box. Our Sunday night game of the week, Milwaukee and Oakland, top of the hour. Sunday nights, who's hot and who's not, and we're going to show you who's hot. Doesn't matter what uniform he wears. The Rainiers, the Mariners, Junior is scorching. 10 homers in his last 15 games, and the Mariners breathing down the necks of the Texas Rangers in the AL West. So who else is hot in the American League? You gotta love the fact that Molly is hot, steamrolling toward 3,000. Maybe you'll get it. Albert Bell warming up for the Tribe. Pat Henkin pitched very well for the Jays. Jeff Tessero for the other Canadian team, Les Expos, and Sammy Saint Ain't Sosa Wate. He hits his home runs in bunches. Who's not hot? Well, there's good news and there's bad news, and unfortunately, Kevin Jarvis, we got to show it. Last 3 starts, ERA of over 10. Although a base hit up the middle isn't that bad, but just hasn't worked lately for Kevin. Who else is on this list? Well, so it's a dreaded list. Ray Langford, always kind of up and down, has some great streaks, has some slow streaks. Alan Bennett's is scuffling now for the Cards. In the American League, Mickey Tettleton, DH, only 1 homer for Homer Happy Texas, and that certainly is a surprise. And Scotty Erickson is going to hit hard for the Orioles. Mark McGwire. I mean, this is one of those players, Peter, that not only this year, but you just, if you're going to see the Oakland A's play and you bought a ticket and you're a fan, you want to get to the park like an hour and a half, 2 hours early just to watch him take his rips, like when Willie McCovey or somebody, or Stargell would take batting practice. I mean, he's just a treat to watch because he doesn't get cheated on many home runs, does he?
No, he doesn't, but he's so dignified. He didn't even know that he hit the ball out of Comiskey. He didn't know that the next day he hit the ball on the 5th deck in Toronto because he doesn't watch it. This is a guy who's enough of a man to admit that on the last day of the '91 season when he was hitting .201 that he asked out of the lineup. A remarkable guy and a tremendous leader for the Oakland A's. This season, now that we've all started talking about you and Roger Maris, is that something you can avoid thinking about?
Right now, yeah. I think you can avoid it until you get to 50 home runs by September. I said it all along. Until somebody, whoever it may be, there's a lot of candidates for that right now. Until you get to 50, I don't really think you can really even talk about it because people talk about Maris so much, but they don't talk about there's only been a dozen guys that get to 50. You know, to get to 50 is a milestone.
Have you thought at all about how you would approach it if you got past 50 and all of a sudden you had the huge media crush?
I think I would probably do something that what Cal Ripken would do, or did, when he was doing his outstanding games played. I would definitely have to do that one time in, do the media thing, take care of all the questions right there. I don't know how many times people want to ask. I don't know what you'd want to talk about. You know, it's only one thing. It's a home run, and it's a tough thing to do. And that's one thing is when you get in a groove of hitting home runs, you hear it all the time from people, hit a home run for me, hit a home run here. It's not easy. It's a tough thing to do. And sometimes it looks easy, but it's not.
Go back to the one in Chicago, the second one, when he hit one out and almost into the street. How much fun is it, or do you even enjoy it?
Well, I think I always enjoy hitting home runs. I mean, I really believe that's what I'm here to do. When the ball hits the pad, you know it's gone. I like it, but I'll never stand at home plate and watch it. I've never done it in my career, and I never will. I don't like players to do that. I just don't. You have to respect a pitcher. And I respect him. I don't fear any pitcher out there, but I respect him. And I just don't think it's good sportsmanship to hit a home run, stand there, and admire it. I'll hit it. I know I hit it, but I'll just keep running around the bases. Reggie Jackson told me my rookie year, the faster you get around the bases, the faster they forget about you. And I've always kept that in the back of my mind.
At the end of last year, with players leaving, the manager leaving, did you think at all about asking to be traded?
No, I'm not that type of player. I would never. And I don't like players that sign contracts and say, hey, I want to renegotiate, or hey, I want to trade. I just don't like it. When you sign that dotted line, you sign that contract for that team at that given time, and you play it out. That's the way it is. I mean, I don't really care for what's going on in the NBA, and I don't care for any baseball player or football player that signs a contract and wants to renegotiate. I just think you sign that dotted line, you stay here. You don't rock the boat. You know, there's a reason why you signed at that given time. Play it out.
Going back again to those great teams in the late 80s, early 90s, did you just figure that, hey, the Bash Brothers thing was something that was going to pass and you'd never be able to be in something like that again?
The thing is I don't think we really knew how good we were. I mean, I remember the one time it was sort of disappointing in myself, but I think it's the third year that we won in a row, and we won the American League West in Kansas City, and I remember we won the game and nobody ran out on the field. It's like guys walked out on the field, and I think right there, I think that was the year that I really realized, you know what? I think a lot of guys took things for granted for what we had, and I sort of regret that, because right now, I want to get back there. And as far as I'm concerned, as being a leader of this ball club, I won't let that happen. I won't let anybody walk out on the field when you win the American League West. But I'll tell you what, I'm having a better time this year than I did the times when I had the championship year, because it's almost like people expected us to win. You know, here nobody expects us to win, and we're going out there and showing people what we can do with no expectations at all.
Well, the expectations for McGwire, you know about the home run frequency and maybe to 50 and maybe to 61. Well, his slugging percentage is on pace to be right now the third best ever, behind a guy named Ruth twice in 20 and 21, and better than the famed Murderers Row Yankees Babe Ruth. Of course, we have a couple months to go. Mark McGwire just a threat every time he steps to the plate. Obviously, Peter, what impressed me all those A's games that I did in the early 90s, he never allowed himself to get too high or too low. And yes, he had a couple of low years at the plate, one in particular, but yet I think not going either extreme has helped him in the long run greatly. Well,
I think he's really grown up too, but I think what's amazing now is to listen to all the young players in that team, follow him around, and listen to what he says. And, you know, Jason Giambi, one of our favorites, of course, said, we asked him about it. He said, you know what I've learned from him? That I talk too much.
Maybe I should talk to Mark then, too, huh? Well, and certainly having Terry Steinbach around there, too, will help teach the youngsters. McGwire and Steinbach are great leaders by example. Well, Mark McGwire is center stage for the A's tonight on our Sunday night game of the week against Milwaukee. Of course, McGwire is not alone among the new-look Oakland Bash brothers. Here are Bash brothers, John Miller and Joe Morgan. Guys.
Thanks, Chris, and we have a spectacular day here on the shores of the San Francisco Bay at the Oakland Coliseum as the Athletics and the Brewers are about to go at it. And Joe, Mark McGwire, of course, everybody out here talking about McGwire and the great year he's been having when he's been healthy. And the question still is he going to have enough time now after missing all of these games to reach 60 or 61 home runs?
Well, I don't believe he's going to have time to do it this year, but he is always a threat. And if we can ever have one season where he's completely healthy, I think you will see him assault the 60 home run schedule. But I think he's going to have a problem with his back for the remainder of the year.
All right. Well, we'll get a look at him here today. But we also have to make note that McGwire, the veteran on this young ball club, and his importance to this ball club now transcends merely hitting home runs. We asked the young star, Jason Giambi, about that.
He's a tremendous influence to this ball club. Just his leadership and the things he's been through for 10 years. And, you know, personally speaking myself, I mean, he's helped me out tremendously. You know, just hanging out with him, learning the things he knows, lifting weights with him, going and eat with him, you know. I mean, he can afford those Ruth Chris, you know, nights.
Now, this Oakland ball club is hitting a lot of home runs. McGwire at the top. Look at Barreau at 26. Steinbach, the biggest home run year of his career. Giambi, and this guy can really hit. Brocious, and even Ernie Young's in the act. And the Athletics, with 181 home runs, Joe, are threatening the 1961 New York Yankees all-time team home run record.
Well, I think that what you see here is something that's been contagious. Mark McGwire, when he came back and started hitting home runs, all of a sudden everyone else started hitting home runs. But it's also been more than just the home runs. They've also hit in the clutch, but lately they've been struggling a little bit.
They've been struggling. If they don't hit homers lately, they have not been scoring. They need 60 home runs in their last 51 games to beat the Yankees' all-time home run record. We've got the Athletics and the Brewers from Oakland coming up a little bit later on. Let's go back to you, Chris.
All right, guys, thank you very much. We look forward to what could be a slugfest. The guy who certainly has avoided this slugfest. Listen to the last couple starts. John Smoltz took a ball off the left wrist on Friday. What's his status with the Braves, Peter?
Well, he had said he hoped to pitch on Thursday, but that's not going to happen. He might miss 1 or 2 starts. They're a little worried it's going to be very difficult for him to field. He may not be able to hit right the rest of the season. This was a very tough blow. But what's amazing now, I mean, we know that he's very resilient. The important thing is get him rested. Don't start pitching Maddox and Glavine on 3 days rest, which they're not going to do. They want everybody in gear for September. They're okay, but right now, who would have thought in August we'd have Wade, Bielecki, and Woodall in the Braves rotation?
Spawn insane and pray for rain. Well, as the Braves are worried about Smoltz, but they have some other pitchers who aren't bad. Certainly the Seattle Mariners have been waiting for Randy Johnson, and the Cy Young Award winner of the American League began what he hopes is his road back to Seattle. He pitched, and you got to like this, Peter, the Everett Aqua Sox in the Northwest League against the Yakima Bears. He faced 6 batters, struck out 5. 20 of his 26 pitches were for strikes. He's going to pitch Thursday night again for Everett. By the way, if you're in the Northwest League, who are we playing tonight? That Randy Johnson. Can't imagine those guys. Yeah, with lights like a flashlight. When can they expect Johnson back, or do they have enough information yet?
They really don't. He's going to pitch again Wednesday. They hope to get 4 innings out of him, maybe a couple of weeks after that. But the important thing, they've got that rotation stabilized, I think Mulholland and Moyer were great moves. They can put Wells in the bullpen. That is a very deep staff, the deepest one Pinello's had. But once they get Randy back, it'll be fine. By the way, aqua socks, does that mean their socks are wet?
I don't know. I'm not sure. We're going to have to get our crack research staff on that. And how about the youngster Matt Wagner? I mean, they have some answers, although they're still not in first. I mean, do you expect when they get back there that they make a run?
I think it's going to be very tough for Texas. Texas got a lot of injuries. Mickey Tettleton started to break down a little bit. They're tired in the middle of the infield. They need a bat. They need a middle infielder. And, of course, they need another reliever somewhere.
Well, the Mariners, this is not quite the moves that they made the last time with Bennis and Belcher, but Lou Piniella all along said, hey, we're going to get guys to make moves. That's what they did with Mulholland and Moyer. But the biggest move is going down in the Northwest League with the Everett Aqua Sox. The Seattle Mariners have overcome tons of adversity this year, but if you're looking for a reason they're not in first place in the AL West, try the Detroit Tigers. It's true. The Hams could manage only a split of 4 games against Detroit at the Kingdome last weekend. And now at home, the Motor City Kitties have taken both games going into today. Holy Charlie Gehringer, holy Hank Greenberg, Batman. Here we go from Tiger Stadium. Well, it's a hitter's park, and Jay Buhner is a hitter. C.J. Nitkowski sends it nit, back, gone. Career home run number 200, 31 of the year for Buhner, 2-0 Seattle. Top of the third, same score, and Buhner, well, a little looper. Damien and don't come easily. Didn't get into his glove either. Amaral scores. 99 ribbies for Buhner, 3-0 Seattle.
And then the Tigers, there's Travis Fryman. Made only 6 errors all year. A key guy in the rebuilding process. Oh, that's his 7th error. Brian Hunter, ground ball goes through. And then the line drive right by him down the left field line. Breaks the game open to 5-1.
Well, that hit by Jeff Prang-Manto. Helped snap a 6-game Tiger winning streak. Let's give the nod to Buddy Bell and company, playing about 500 balls since the beginning of July. But the Mariners win this one by the count of 9-3 as Wolcott wins for the 7th time. Huck Fletcher pitched a good game for Toronto. They've been a hot team, and California has not. 7-1 Toronto over the Angels, and Jim Abbott has lost 10 in a row, falls to 1-14. The Angels have lost 6 of their last 7. Fletcher gave up 1 run in 7 2/3. Still to come. It's been a downer for the Red Sox. Mo has hardly been in slow-mo this season. Sox, Twins, and more coming up. Now the Battle of Pennsylvania at the Vet. Not that exciting, I got to admit, when the Phillies get 3 of their 4 runs on sac flies. Well, they're playing smart baseball, and they won behind Mike Williams, 2 runs given up in 8 innings. Phillies beat the Pirates 4-2. Well, Mike Maddox was supposed to start today for the Red Sox. Did not. More on that in a moment. Meanwhile, Troy O'Leary, Doinks went off first base and ricochets away. Should have ended the inning with everybody safe. Then Reggie Jefferson.
Reggie Jefferson taking over for Jose Canseco as the DH. This guy's hitting .359, 13 homers, 50 RBIs in 81 games. Poor Rich Becker. It looks like no one's been able to pick up a fly ball in that ballpark all weekend.
5-0 Boston at the Triple Bayou. Jefferson net. Mo better Blues ball. Sends it back. He knows it's gone. His 32nd, a 7-run second. Mo's not done. Bottom of the 8th, after O'Leary hit a 3-run shot, Mo hits his 30-30, has 101 RBIs. The Red Sox fell the Twins 13-6. Maddox and Tim Wakefield were shaken up, fortunately not seriously injured, when the car in which they were riding to the park this morning was hit by another car that ran a red light. They saw Maddox in uniform but couldn't start. It's been that sort of year for the Red Sox. Red Sox win at 13-6. When we return, our Dinger Sunday Honor Roll. That and more when we return on Baseball Tonight. Well, who had the vision today to hit home runs on Sunday? Todd Hundley had the Met record for catchers with number 33. American League Honor Roll looks this way. Jim Thome, a 3-run shot, but Kenny Lofton was the star for Cleveland. Well, we hope you enjoyed this edition of Baseball Tonight. The Olympics, this just in, are over as of Sunday night. So we go back to our double dip, 10:30 at midnight Eastern Time. Peter and I will be with you tomorrow. We hope you can join us. For Peter Gammons, I'm Chris Berman. Thanks for watching Baseball Tonight. Of course, we have our Sunday night game of the week. The Brewers against home run happy Oakland. John Miller, Joe Morgan on the call from the hotel. Gentlemen.
Thanks, Chris. Now, in its 7th season. It's the ESPN Sunday Night Baseball Game of the Week. Tonight, the Milwaukee Brewers, led by John Jaha with 23 homers, take on the Oakland Athletics and Major League home run leader Mark McGwire. It's the ESPN Sunday Night Baseball Game of the Week. A beautiful night for baseball here on the shores of the San Francisco